3, 4. The Climate Show! Welcome to the Climate Show. I'm Theo Talcott. I'm joined by my friend Bob Koch.
Hi.
Oliver Levis.
Howdy.
And Mac.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about the climate change issue and saving our planet. So let's get into it. Bob, I heard that you're related to the Koch brothers. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
That was what I originally thought. You were named Bob Koch from your days in Fleetwood Mac, but I heard you're actually related to the Koch brothers, as in Charles Koch and the billionaires who are funding the propaganda movement to make people believe climate change is not true.
Yeah, you see, I'm one of their little hidden brothers that they kept me in the attic for all these years, tied me up to a chicken fence for no reason. They thought I was too much of a freak.
So unkind.
Am I a freak, people?
A little bit. Do they have chickens in their attic?
They did, and every time they would lay an egg, it would be golden.
Wow. No wonder they make $100 billion a year, the Koch Industries.
It's golden eggs, man.
Or golden fuel. The Koch brothers made their fortune because their father, Frank Koch, was the guy who learned a new way to make heavy oil into gasoline. And so they just billionaires, and they have a huge endeavor to make people think climate change is not true.
Are they the ones that managed to get the Keystone XL pipeline, which is carrying heavy oil, routed to Texas, or is that just coincidental?
The Keystone XL pipeline is. I'm not sure I can lay that right at their feet. But that is an important issue, and hopefully that thing gets blocked.
Doesn't it go through their backyard, though?
I think it does.
Did
you hear about that? Have you seen the XL pipeline?
They kind of hide it from me because they don't want me to tell everybody like I'm telling everybody right now. It's everywhere. They put it underground and don't let us see it. They hide it with soil. Soil.
Well, they do want to bury the XL pipeline, but that's actually one of the problems of its design. If it breaks a leak, then you have to dig up 20 miles to find where the leak is. There's a place in Michigan that said something like 1 million barrels leaked into the ground before they even knew. So I don't know if we want to do huge pipeline projects in the era of climate change.
And there was just a bad one in Montana too, right? Where it was crossing a river and the pipeline burst, and the governor is actually a soil scientist.
Yeah.
And I heard him talking a lot about the
This guy was
damage.
really cool, though.
Yeah, he was right on in terms of just. I mean, a nice coincidence that the guy in charge actually knows what he's talking about. There was another big pipeline deal I read about that one company now just bought another company, right? And it's going to be like the largest pipeline company in America for natural gas. And the reason why it's proliferating so much and this company is doing so well is because all of the fracking that's happening now.
Right.
There's new pipelines being.
Right.
Is that Chesapeake, you think, or?
Yeah, Chesapeake. Maybe that's the company, right?
There's
one was bought by another. I don't know.
I read about that. Yeah, there's this. It's one of the sort of abominations of our modern time. It's sort of an environmental crime that in 10 years people will be like, oh my God, they ruined our water supply and we didn't get anything for it. But fracking is terrible and needs to get banned all over. And there's an effort to do that.
There's a little piece of good news about it, which was that. Banks will no longer give mortgages on houses where they've sold the rights to a company to frack. So it was an appealing thing. Hey, I'll get $20,000. I can buy a new pickup truck or whatever. But then you think about it. Well, now my home, which is my main investment, is no longer able to be used as collateral. So that has some implications. I mean, hopefully, people will realize that it's a short-sighted gain to.
Right, the whole Koch Brothers industry is just they're making billions of dollars, and we all pay the cost of it, and sort of the future being basically damaged by climate change. There's this. It was a funny study that the Charles Koch Foundation gave $150,000 to the Berkeley, UC Berkeley, to do Earth surface temperature project. And they came back, and they gave the money to someone who was like a climate denier scientist.
There was a couple people that they're both like well-known skeptics, right?
Right.
and they both said that if this comes back to be found conclusively that that climate change is real, then we will accept that. And then lo and behold,
It did.
it did.
Yeah.
And so one of them came around and said they accept it now, but the other one is still finding fault with it, saying this or that. Like,
Finding fault with his own study?
well, he's saying that it's not peer reviewed, but this guy was always saying that the other stuff that was peer reviewed was flawed. But now he's saying this is no good because it's not. I mean, obviously, he's on a sinking ship of the few disbelievers.
Few holdouts. Is that what you remember from your brothers? Were they often that kind of deniers of the truth?
They always deny truth, every truth indeed, and I couldn't take it anymore because they would deny that I was a real person, and I am. I have nipples. You can't see them now because it's kind of hairy, but I have nipples. Sometimes
your
milk
nipples
comes
and all your
out.
tattoos
You
got
want
grown
some
over
milk,
as well.
Oliver? You want some fresh puppet milk? Oh,
Oh, so you're a puppet.
kind of.
Gotcha.
Caught in their own study.
Oh, the truth comes out.
Poor little Koch puppet.
Well, here's some good news. California has adopted limits on greenhouse gases. California is always an avant-garde of environmental legislation, and they have adopted a cap-and-trade system that is kind of what they wanted to do nationally, and then didn't happen. Other countries are already doing this, I think. So, and I also heard that that in Australia they've adopted carbon taxes, which are great. We should not be paying income taxes. We should be taxing carbon and everything. You drive your car, and then in the Netherlands they're experimenting with putting a meter on your car, so that the more you drive your car, the more you have to pay for your carbon footprint. So if you have a hybrid, then you pay less. If you have like pickup truck like mine, you may pay a little more.
Did you see, Theo, that they had a similar thing in Europe that they just passed, which was that airplanes would have to pay a carbon tax if they fly through the European airspace? And the first thing immediately is that America contested it, saying we're not going to pay.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was bipartisan.
Oh man.
Just a couple Democrats voiced their support for it, but America and China unilaterally both said we're not going to pay.
Yeah, planes are among the worst, and they burn all their gases at the upper atmosphere, so it's like even more influential because the air is thinner, so it actually burns off all these like subtle layers, and they drop all their carbon right at the top. It's like airplanes. Everyone should ride trains. Do you like trains, Bob?
Sometimes, except when I sit next to a freak and they tell me their life story about how they can only see with one eye because the other guy got shot out when he was taking a piss and the piss went too high.
But that could happen on a plane too.
Yeah, whatever. Planes are more safe because it's harder to go to the bathroom because sometimes people are in the bathroom and, I just hold it in and it's really nice. Keeps me warm when I pee my pants, even though I have no pants.
You're too much, Bob.
Never enough. Yeah.
Never enough. So Cornell West has a good idea, and it's been put forward by other people that we start to run a slate of candidates in the next election to bring forward the agenda of the Occupy Wall Street movement.
I heard he was a big fan of the show.
This show?
This show.
Wow.
Yeah. He tweeted about it.
No way.
Wow.
I think.
feel
I could be
famous.
wrong.
Can you try and call him on the phone?
I don't know his number, but he knows the number for the show because don't you put it on the.
I do, and
Yeah.
we actually have. You can write us if you want at this address right here.
Wait, all I see is nothing.
My finger.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it in later, but it says
Oh.
theclimateshow@gmail.com.
Oh man, I really thought you had that power. You could just.
I'm taking advantage of my ability to step above time
Oh.
through the power of
Wow.
editing.
So Cornell West.
Cornell
Who is
West.
Cornell West?
Dr. Cornell West is a long-distance runner for justice, one of the great advocates of social change, and a very articulate, beautiful brother.
What has he done?
He has written beautiful books. He's made beautiful poetry. He has advocated for the poor in a way that's incredibly articulate. Recently he was talking about how all the black brothers and sisters in jail because they're locked out of the economic system that they're in, and so they end up having to do get by hustling, and then they get busted, and next thing you know, they're in jail forever. And when I got arrested in D.C. as part of the tar sands thing, I saw it firsthand. Man, there's like a whole culture of people who just are in and out of jail. It's really lame, racist, and sad.
So anyway, Cornel West, also one of the first big names to arrive at Occupy Wall Street, and he gave it a lot of credit.
Yeah.
He was like, he used a lot of like famous photos of him walking around with his little scarf, everything,
He's
holding
awesome.
signs. Anyway,
I thought
but he's really gotten behind it. Though,
we
right?
should try and call Cornel West.
His wife's number here, maybe.
Well, hello.
Hello, is that Professor West?
Reverend Professor West.
Okay, Mr. West. It's great to have you on the climate show. Let's see.
It's my esteemed pleasure.
You've been at the Occupy Wall Street protests, lending your support to that cause. What can you tell us about what's going on down there?
Well, it's a very important cause. It recalls the democratic purpose, the vision of humanity, the Socratic vision of restoring discussion to our streets. Our people are once again rising with passion and hope.
Wow.
I think it's a good cause.
So, Cornel, I heard you were interested in running a slate of candidates for the climate, on an Occupy Wall Street ticket. And I saw you on Democracy Now! The other day, and beautifully said that we need to have not necessarily to run against Obama, but to have a legitimate third party that was actually representing the people and actually taking on the powers of Wall Street and doing stuff like taxing derivatives and speculation taxes and all those things that would be obvious if our government wasn't bought by the Wall Street billionaires.
That's true.
Question from Bob, who is one of our panelists here.
Yes, Brother Bob.
Hey, Cornell. I heard that when you run for president, you're gonna have a vice president, and I heard it's gonna be me. And
Actually, the vice presidential position has already been occupied by Miss Jennifer Lopez.
Miss Jennifer. Oh.
Oh, excellent choice. Are you trying to copy John McCain's choice of Sarah Palin by having an attractive woman as your running mate?
Well, actually, I prefer to stick to George Bush's choice in selecting a presidential colleague.
Yes?
Under colleague?
Yes. You know why?
Why?
I know that George Bush had himself a Dick Cheney, and I know that Jennifer Lopez happens to have a nipple ring.
Oh, very good, Mr. West. Very good, very good.
We'll
Thank you.
Be sure to vote for you in 2012.
God bless. Bye.
Wow, I can't believe we got Cornel West on the phone.
Amazing. He's going to run with J-Lo.
He's going to run with J-Lo.
I think
West Low, 2012.
Watch out, Obama. Here comes the Democratic populism.
Yeah, I think it would be good if it was Cornel West, Kanye West, 2012.
Whoa.
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 That just
West by
blew
West.
my brain.
West
They
by
could just
West.
they could do all their
The West young man.
West squared.
they could do all their campaigning in like song form.
Yeah. Be good. Anyway, so in spite of, he's a busy man. We only had him on the phone for a minute. But can you tell us a little bit more about this ticket and what he's trying to do with the 99% party?
Well, there is a growing effort to try and make Occupy Wall Street be meaningful and to have it be make change politically and come up with actual changes on Wall Street. So Matt Taibbi, who writes for Rolling Stone, brought forth a list of beautiful things that we could do. There's something called a Tobin tax, which is taxes financial transactions, which is a great place to start. So the problem is like there's billions of dollars flying around in speculative capital every day. So if you just put like 1 penny of a tax per every $100 that moves, you get a lot of money taxed, but also it cuts the amount that people are willing just to move around in speculation. So speculation taxes, taxes on derivatives, this thing that crashed the economy back there, these crazed financial instruments that are just sort of totally unrelated to the actual creation of wealth. Wall Street's real problem, which is that it's sort of self-absorbed money capitalism instead of and so I've been wanting to say as we bust on Wall Street, the real problem isn't necessarily capitalism in the classic sense of buying and selling stuff, but rather this sort of speculation and speculative capitalism, which is all this funny money and billions of dollars in Krugerrands being traded for Deutschmarks, and next thing you know.
What do you think about some of the Republicans' proposals have a really simple, flat tax rate?
999.
Or 20. Rick Perry just came out with one which was 20% flat tax, which would be a big. Well, no, not a sales tax, an income tax, but billionaires or millionaires or whatever now are paying probably 40%, something like that. So for them, it's a big
Tax
savings.
cut.
It's funny that's who we're giving us. That's the Republicans.
But is that does that include a 20% corporate tax, or
I think it's 20%. I don't know.
Well, to Obama's credit, he actually brought forth a tax plan recently based on the Buffett rule, which is that the speculative capital should be taxed to the same level as income taxes, and that's great.
Which is, so people understand, that's basically changing the capital gains tax rate.
Right. So you get taxed for making money on stocks at the same level as you would income tax, which is good. Good idea.
We don't know too much about that, really. That's not our area of expertise.
We're simple farmers with iPhones and climate shows.
And puppets.
Beards.
And beards. We were thinking about running the beard party 2012.
Represent, yo.
Only people with facial hair.
Al Gore.
And Jennifer Lopez.
Al Gore.
Al Gore.
J-Lo has facial hair?
Yeah, you
just
never
a,
seen her mustache?
Mustache it for
She
later?
shaves it every morning and goes for mustache rides. Yeah.
Wow, mustache rides.
Wow.
Mustache ride with Jennifer Lopez. That'd be okay.
Yeah, wouldn't you take that any day? Miss Vice President Mustache Rides. Yeah. Cornell West on West. Wow.
Right Northwest.
That's right.
Wow. So good. What else? Gaddafi died this week. What do you think about that?
I liked his style. I thought he was a great dresser.
He lived
He was a snappy
in a
dresser.
tent too, even really far out tents. I saw
I heard
a
a
late
funny
night
story.
show
You know the
showed
reason they
his
caught
tent.
him? They were late leaving. He wanted to leave at 3 a.m. And they his crew was so disorganized they didn't roll out till 8 in the morning, and it's already light. And then the NATO planes caught him, and the NATO planes
Really?
He died with a gold
so sloppy
pistol.
dice, man. Don't
You
be
hear that?
late.
He had a solid gold handgun.
Solid gold? That's seriously James Bond. That's
I heard he didn't
awesome.
fire one shot.
No, he didn't. He just said, "Please don't shoot me," and then they shot him anyway.
I heard he was wearing a wig when he died. What kind of person wears a wig when they die? Who cares what you look like? I have no hair. I don't wear a wig. You know why? I embrace the baldness. Yeah. Baldness. Yeah.
But I don't think he wore a wig. I think he had a good head of hair.
I don't know. I heard he had a wig.
Hmm.
Yeah, indeed.
Where'd you get your information?
I get it from the interweb. Yeah.
I don't think he wore a wig. I saw it with it was all matted with blood. It's not a wig.
Well, I read he had a wig. What can I say? I listen to everything I read on the interweb. Web of knowledge, spider web. Yeah.
Perfect. That's
Great idea.
power.
That means you're gonna be on the show.
Yeah.
My shirt's on the show. I'm not on the show. You want to sweat?
Dance. Do a climate dancer act. We'll dance.
We'll sing. We'll sing.
We need the climate dancer show. We didn't have a climate dancers.
How many roads must a man walk down before you get caught in the man?
Climate dancers.
And how many times must the wild dog fell before she gets
That was our artistic interlude, the climate dancers, to break the tension of all these
Break the
high
Arctic sea
topics.
ice. Yeah.
Like breaking the Arctic sea ice. So, a couple things to talk about. On November 6th, there is a very beautiful event to surround the White House with a mile-long chain of people in order to send a message to Obama to cancel the XL pipeline, but also to say we need a climate champion in the White House, and hopefully that's Obama or somebody else. And so everybody go to D.C. November 6th.
So you're going, right, Theo?
I'm going.
Cool.
Bob, are you going?
I'm going, but I'm not going to really hold hands because my hand gets kind of sweaty and people don't like sweat because it smells like
Not
Bob.
not so sweaty.
Bob sometimes smells like gasoline. Yeah.
Right. As a Koch brother, you probably just smell like gasoline as
Probably
part of
just
your
sweating,
DNA.
yeah.
Always. It's great. I mean, I get high off it all the time. Gasoline.
Coke and gasoline. Here you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Modern favorites of the Texas oilmen.
So-
But
Theo, is this going to be a larger protest than the one that you were at earlier this year?
I think it'll be huge, and it looks like it's going to be nonviolent. There's not going to be any arrests. It's designed to be nonviolent, but I think it's just a beautiful opportunity to do something meaningful and to show support for the climate issue in D.C. The problem is the politicians in this country aren't taking climate change seriously. It's not really a really pressing issue on the sort of American agenda as delivered by the mass media, and so politicians think they can ignore it, and it's hugely irresponsible for them to do so because all the argument about cutting the budget or all this ridiculous stuff they talk about is totally meaningless unless we solve climate change. If we
Economics are always in the front seat.
Right, and if we
And-
wreck the sky, it doesn't matter like whether we balance the budget or whether the euro got back together or not. We have to fix the climate issue. We have to solve the problem with the sky, and so we're going to D.C. to make that point clear. So please go to D.C. on November 6th.
My voice should be heard.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about Occupy Wall Street. I feel like they've really tapped a nerve in this country about the inequalities in our economic system and
Yes.
how the 99% are getting basically left out of the picture and the 1% have all the money. You have brought some
Sure.
facts on
I
that.
have infographics from Mother Jones Magazine, which I encourage everybody to look up at home. It's under the title of "It's the Inequality, Stupid," and these actually came up a couple months, I think, in April, before anything was going on Wall Street. But they basically break down visually and with a lot of facts what income inequality in America looks like. So right here in front of me, you have a breakdown of incomes by the percentage of the population. So right here, the bottom 90% of Americans, the average income is $31,000 a year for a household. In the top 10%, it gets bumped up to $164,000 per household. In the top 1%, the people that we're talking about at Wall Street, the average family income is $1.13 million a year. And that doesn't say anything about assets. That says it doesn't say anything about bonuses. It's just income.
That would be awesome. I would love to be in the 1%.
We would all love to be in the 1%, but what would we be doing in the 1%?
Swimming in cash.
Swimming in
Yeah.
cash.
I would give half of it to the Dalai Lama every year.
Every year? What would he do?
I
with
would tithe to the Dalai Lama. He'd probably like buy beads.
it? He'd probably just buy beads. But
So
a more interesting
Maybe I'll give it
graphic-
to Cornell West.
Maybe, yeah. I think they're the same guy. I don't think they've ever been seen in the same room together. Okay.
I heard they were like
Whoa.
identical twins and they got separated at birth.
Yeah, both the chosen ones. So specifically talking about the 1%, though, there's a great graph right here which really lays it out, and it shows the proportion of America's net worth that is owned by the top 1%, the top 10%, and everybody else, the bottom 90%. And the top 1% controls 34.6% of America's wealth. So more than a third of America's net worth is controlled by 1% of the people. And the top 10%, not including the 1%, owns 38.5%. So just roughly, that's like 73% of America's money that's controlled by the top 10% richest people in the country.
10 plus 1. That's 11.
Yeah. Good thing
How
I'm a
would you
Koch
explain that
brother.
to someone who didn't know how to do math like me?
How would I explain that to somebody that doesn't know how to do math? It's easy. You can go online and you can look it up at Mother Jones.
Okay.
You can look at it right here.
So-
you guys can zoom in.
Basically, what you're saying is there's a lot of inequality. The rich have most of it. The poor don't have any of it.
Basically, yeah, 2/3 of the money.
and
If
this
you
is
have 4
just
pieces of pizza, 1/10 of the people that show up to your party get 3 of them, and then the other 9 people have to share that last piece of pizza.
that doesn't seem fair at all.
Or, as they said, as I saw in a brilliant sign at Occupy Wall Street, 1% of the kids want 99% of the cookies, which I thought was really fun.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Occupy Wall Street was really fun.
It's a lot of fun.
And brilliant, and it's going strong, and it's gonna head into winter now. And I just signed a petition today to let them have tents so they can go through the winter. That's gonna be the next argument they're gonna have with New York City is like they got to change the law about the tents. It's gonna be really cold there
Yeah.
shortly.
What about igloos?
Igloos would be hard to clean, but
Hard to clean.
I don't know.
Also,
They're made out of snow.
Yeah, but it's not that cold in New York for igloos. I think you need solid cold temperature.
Oh.
It's so part of this climate research talked about the insulating effect of cities. So cities generally are warmer, and that was one of the things that climate scientists said is that there are more. The climate skeptics said that there are more cities now, so that's why it's warmer. Is because the cities
It's not
warm
like
up.
there's a city like every.
And that was debunked. That was said
Yeah.
that cities cover less than 1% of
Yeah.
the land mass of the Earth. So it's
Wow.
really not. But that was in that article that Berkeley
Yeah.
land record.
They're really
So
stretching.
igloo's
they're
probably not going to work.
Igloo's
But keep thinking. You're on the right track.
TP.
TP,
TPs. I wonder if that would count as a tent.
probably that's a kind of a 10.
Probably.
Yeah, whatever.
Force fields,
I
Whoa.
think force fields are the way to go.
Electric blankets with a generator.
that's not very carbon neutral.
Come on, yeah.
You could have like solar panel
Fires.
fires.
How about smart
fire.
grid? Let's talk about smart grid.
So one of the issues coming up in Vermont is this issue of the smart grid, and CVPS, local power company, is trying to unroll this like new technology, and people are pushing back against it. In California, there's been a big opposition. Vermont starting it. It's basically the effort is to put like a cell phone on your meter that the meter readers come and read on the side of your house to measure your electricity. But it would always be on, and they would actually be allowed to know what's going on in your house because they would know. You could tell like what kind of electricity you're using. So if you're playing the bass, they would know, or if you're growing something, they would know that, or if you're using your vibrator, they would know that.
Oh no, I'm screwed. That was supposed to be a secret, but now the government's gonna know I twiddle my twiddle. Yeah.
Oh boy. See,
Yeah.
so you'd probably be against the smart meter then.
I'm so against a smart meter, man.
Well, you can opt out.
I want a dumb meter. Yeah.
Yeah, the dumber meter, the better.
Yeah.
So you can opt out. Through a much effort from our friends at Vermonters for Clean Environment, they've made CVBS made a little bit of a concession that you can opt out of this program, but then you would have to pay $10 a month to opt out.
But what about the ecological ramifications, which are positive to this program? I mean, it's going to make the delivery of energy more efficient. So you have a slight invasion of privacy, but you weigh that against the benefit of more efficient delivery of electricity, because after all, the more efficiently the energy is delivered, then less wasted coal being burnt and nuclear
It's
power
true.
plants running.
It's one of the things one hates to argue against, which is like, smart people trying to like do something good for the environment. But in this case, the design is so flawed. It's just really just bad design. I mean, for one, it rests entirely on Wi-Fi, which is not safe. Electromagnetic radiation, radio frequency pollution is not safe. In that sense, they had the radar in World War II, and all the servicemen got cancer. And so we know that that radio frequency pollution causes cancer, and so we don't want to go to a whole design of the modern world where everything's on Wi-Fi, and that's where they want to go. They want to have your refrigerator is running on a Wi-Fi system, so it
Is your
tells.
refrigerator running on Wi-Fi?
It is.
You should
It
go
isn't
run-
yet,
you
but
should
it
go
could-
run on Wi-Fi and go get it.
Is your fridge sustainable or runs to sustainable.
That was a mashup of two jokes.
Okay.
Yeah, whoa.
We're gonna have to hit that again too. Okay, so
Mishy, mashup.
This wasn't so
wait.
bad.
So my refrigerator. So
Was that bad? Was that bad?
It's great.
I didn't
Fine.
get. I think you.
It's just
I don't think you
rolled with
really got the joke, but
roll with it.
so
Roll with it.
so anyway, like let's pretend we'll start over. Okay, blooper. The climate show has got a lot of bloopers. Outtake. Yeah. So the idea is like eventually they want to create a system where like every appliance in the house talks to your meter, and so like it says your refrigerator, it's like, oh, the grid's running hot, so let's turn the temperature up a little bit on your fridge so that it uses less electricity, and then the grid doesn't have to do it, and they'll turn it back up at night when the grid isn't working so hard. And so in theory, your refrigerator would be running more sustainably.
Is your refrigerator running insustainably right now?
I mean, in theory.
Should go catch it.
Yeah,
Running away from me. So, yes, I mean,
like every woman. Yeah.
it's true.
Sorry.
I got no Wi-Fi.
Okay. Call.
Other things you want to bring up? Wrap it
Let's
up.
wrap it up. Yeah.
Okay,
That's what she said. Yeah.
so
It's gonna drop a big one.
Wow.
Bob, you gotta open your mouth like
Wow.
everyone else. Okay.
Bob. So I heard you're related to the Koch brothers, and I just can't believe that because we've been friends for so long, and now you're finally telling me you're related to the billionaire oilmen who are kind of wrecking the planet.
Hell yeah, man. That's why our relationship is not real like me. Yeah.
Theo, someday you'll learn we're all brothers and sisters.
We're all brothers.
Really, the
I
Koch
know.
brothers are not our enemy.
Brother
they're
David
brothers.
Koch. We love everybody. Brother David Koch, Brother
Brother
Cornel
Cornel
West,
West.
We're
Brother
all
Bob
in it
Koch.
together.
Yeah.
And like it or not, we're going to have to save this planet together. And so we're not making fun of anybody for no reason. We're making fun of people who are propagandists for a vision of the world that's not true, which is that climate change is happening, and we have to step up to the reality of that. And so we're trying to make a funny show that sort of brings that forward. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Hey. And if you want to get a hold of our Steam host,
Write us at the climate.
Yes. right here.
The Climate Show at Gmail, and find us on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
The Climate Show.
Yeah, hit the like button.
Yeah, like us. We want you to like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ay, 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 ay,
Climate show.
Show climate.
Show
Show us your climate.
us your climate, darling.
Now show me your climate.